Protect your online privacy today at expressvpn.com/inside.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Monday. Let's talk about Nintendo and give them a clap. Yay, Nintendo. Good job, Doug Bowser, on something. We'll see what.
God. I keep forgetting his name is Bowser.
Good job, Jason Lakita.
As a young man named Stan Koopa Troopa, I feel robbed of my rightful position.
The friendly, cuddly video game company that's currently riding high on a wave of Switches and quarantined player bases.
Yeah, but there's two sides to every story, and today we're going to look at the darker side of Nintendo.
The evil side.
All right, maybe not that evil. I mean, it is Nintendo. But when it comes to Nintendo, there's a question that always seems to come up, which is, why do they insist on making life hard for their players, or at least harder than it needs to be?
And why do all the players seem to like it so much when that happens?
I love it. I am definitely a Nintendo simp. I love when they dominate me with things that don't make any sense at all.
When we say evil, like in other companies, it's like atmospheric horror that will give you PTSD. But when Nintendo's evil, it's like, this character's colored purple.
And will always be colored purple, and we will sue you if you make them pink.
Yeah.
The question is, though, why do they still do this, especially when there are almost always easier solutions right in front of them?
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo does a lot of things right. Classic characters, good games, the Switch been a huge success. Sure, a lot of their games might be more family-friendly compared to Sony and Microsoft, but Nintendo also has a reputation for quality. Unless we're talking about Joy-Con drift, then they have a reputation for making crap and not fixing it.
Real quick, I think you said family-friendly.
I did. I just powered through.
We love our family here at Inside Gaming. Sorry, Inside Graming. And Nintendo also has a big reputation for doing things its own way. It's almost like they don't pay any attention at all to their competitors. They're just marching along to the beat of their own drummer. What kind of a drum do you think Nintendo would play?
The
one with
Wiimote
a smiley
Nunchuck.
face at the bottom of it.
No, it's the Wii Music guy from E3 in the sandals.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, that can be good when it comes to unique concepts like the Wii or the Switch, that whole going it on your own way, going it alone. But it can also be annoying too, because Nintendo also has a tendency to create problems that have been solved decades ago.
While other console makers are talking about backwards compatibility and offering free upgrades for cross-gen games, Nintendo can be maddeningly stuck in their old ways.
Oh no, Nintendo, what are you doing? For this video, we're going to talk about two examples of Nintendo making life hard on its players, and the first one is one of their newest games, the beloved Animal Crossing New Horizons. Alright, obviously it's been a hit. It sold like a bazillion copies. If you see the graphs of it compared to the other Animal Crossings, it's hilarious because it just shoots up to the sky. But there are also some very frustrating aspects to it. And to be fair, Animal Crossing games in general are always very frustrating, but it is because they're Nintendo games. Like, Nintendo does not want it to be a game that is at all fast or makes sense, and it's just getting worse as time goes on because there's so many good quality of life things that other game companies are throwing out there. Not Nintendo. They don't care.
Their explanation is always like, well, sometimes life is frustrating too.
Yeah, exactly.
Try having your bullet train take 6 minutes to get you across the entire city. We've talked about this before, but one of the biggest issues is that they don't have cloud saves for the game, which is nuts, because that's supposed to be the big feature of their online service.
Nintendo has a great explanation. They said they're doing it to prevent cheating. Actually, the game's director, Aya Kiyogoku, told IGN that the game's team found that with cloud saves, users could potentially cheat by multiplying or increasing the number of a specific item. How dare you cheat in a largely single-player game?
Right.
There's also like that exploit that the game already has to cheat by duplicating things over and over. You can easily take advantage of the fucking stock market. Like, it's so easy to just find any other island and make a shitload of money. There's so many exploits in this game. That's
You
like
could
such
time
a dumb...
travel, yeah.
Yeah, that one's extremely just like surface level cheating.
Yeah.
They're so concerned about where like Activision will make Warzone and it's filled with cheaters, and they're like, Maybe we'll put them all in a game together. I don't know.
I love that. That's like my favorite thing a video game company has done in 2020.
Maybe they can't pinpoint the exploit, but if they knew somebody who was using a cloud save to duplicate items, maybe they could send them useless shit that has to be thrown out in a really time-consuming way, so it just starts to litter the island because it can't be stacked. Like locust hordes, but instead it's like 700 toilets.
I'd be into that. I like a little, taste of your medicine kind of a situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously the cheating thing, weird explanation, doesn't really hold up, but Nintendo often has kind of confounding reasons for why it does things or doesn't do things, but it's not just cloud saves. There are so many more issues with Animal Crossing. Love the game, but it sucks. And while they're maybe not as big as cloud saves, the game has tons of quality of life issues that have been around forever. And again, This game always been a broken mess, but I think people's expectations of games are a lot higher than it used to be. So yeah, I would love to be able to craft in bulk. I would love for it not to take an hour to make all the fish bait that I want. I need to catch that mahi-mahi. I don't want to be running around on my island for 3 hours collecting manila clams. I don't have time. I mean, I do.
I tried to catch a tuna on the last day of April. I have PTSD. I finally did it with like 30 minutes to spare. I've never been so proud of anything.
Oh my god, that sounds so stressful.
I got a turtle on the first day of April or spring or whatever, and then I stopped playing.
Oh, I need a turtle.
The turtles are awesome. You can put them down on the ground and they'll stand there.
Oh, I gave it away to that fucking hoe Blathers.
What a hoe.
But yeah, also, why can't you stack turnips? Well, at least more than 100 at a time. My island literally right now is completely covered in them.
Yeah, dude, it's like strawberry fields of turnips. Every Monday, I wake up in my Animal Crossing bedroom and I'm like, wow, this sucks.
It happened again! Or what about the ability to upgrade bridges without demolishing the old one and building again, or to be able to buy 2 dresses at a time from the Able sisters?
No, why would you be able to do that? That's not how it works, okay? But yeah, we could go on and on. You get the idea. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Why do we need Timmy and Tommy? They're redundant.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's throw one of them out. Which one do we hate?
Both.
But a group of people actually made a fake Nintendo Direct that advertised all the imaginary quality of life changes that were coming to the game in a free update. This video is incredible, by the way. I don't know.
It was great.
It's so good. I don't know how they made it. I was watching it. I was like, this is dope.
It was made by Nick Ha with help from Kira Buckland, Lizzie Freeman, and Madeline Doro, just to give everybody their props. It completely nailed the tone of a real Direct, like the voice acting, the graphics, and they made a bunch of suggestions through the fake Direct, like being able to change the volume of sound effects or having a targeting indicator so you'd know exactly where you're digging, plus just being able to instantly know whether or not you'd already donated a bug to the museum. What a concept.
I've so often found myself surrounded by holes when I've been trying to fill them in. I'm just like, all right, I've mined this rock and I didn't mean, okay, haha, and it just, and I have a moat. Yeah, it was so well done, it was almost depressing because then you realize that it's not real and those things will probably never happen.
What do you think real life is easy? Is Nintendo, Nintendo isn't making games for a bunch of babies, it's making games for real men who are dealing with real life problems.
I like when they use the real life excuse. Okay, well, I don't have an anthropomorphic fox living next to me.
I don't even have the bells to buy bootstraps, let alone lift myself up by them.
That fake Direct was like when you imagine yourself winning the lottery and you think about all the debts you're gonna pay off, and then you're like, oh wait, now I gotta come back to my real life. The thing is, a lot of these issues have been around a while with Animal Crossing, but Nintendo, they have made some improvements over the years, but there's still a lot of glaring problems. They don't ruin the game, but it's just not as streamlined as it could be.
Yeah, I think honestly, what happened, they added a lot of quality of life stuff for like the base game, but then they added terraforming, they added multiplayer, like they added all this other stuff that they now is a new thing to the game. So now there's a bunch of like new issues with that, which shouldn't be the case because multiplayer, something that was solved a very long time ago. But yeah, it's Nintendo. And oh my god, the unskippable cutscenes when people visit or leave your island. Holy I still
Not
have
worth it.
PTSD from the time I put my Dota code out there on Twitter.
It just doesn't make f***ing sense. Like, let me put some shit on the ground. It's like, I don't care if I have guests around. Let me
Yeah,
put
but
a bug
it's
down.
rude, Connor. It's
I gotta
rude.
sit through a bunch of cutscenes. People that I
It's the
love
worst.
dearly have been like, hey, here's my friend code. I'm like, great. And I add them. I'm like, I never want to play Animal Crossing with these people.
Speaking of friend codes, let's talk about another system that Nintendo has used for years now, that literally everyone despises. It would be that. It would be the friend
Yes.
code. I mean,
Yes.
they've been around since the Wii days, but even then, they seemed archaic, I think is a kind word to put it.
Yeah, why not just use usernames? That's what everyone's always wondered for years now. Well, believe it or not, Nintendo considered it and decided not to. And their reasoning is typical Nintendo, nonsensical and kind of confusing.
Sometimes in the real world, people have numbers for their names.
There was a huge Nintendo data leak recently that involved all kinds of stuff, and part of that was an internal PowerPoint that discussed friend codes. And this PowerPoint was back in the days of the Wii, but it's 2020 and we're still using friend codes, so obviously their philosophy hasn't changed.
But yeah, they acknowledged that some people suggested using screen names instead of friend codes, but Nintendo saw two problems with that. One, they said there's a high probability of duplicate screen names, which apparently conflicts with Nintendo's philosophy that everything about a game should be easy to set up, because a random string of 12 numbers is so much simpler than a username.
You know what? That doesn't make any sense. Literally how everything else works. They're like, wait, there's a problem here. Like, no,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Just say you don't want to, Nintendo.
Yeah, seriously. Holy
Just own up to it.
They also said it would be possible to guess someone's screen name by trying different variations of their actual name. Okay.
But if you have to accept requests, who gives a
Again, all problems that have been well, worked with for the past 15, 20
Yeah.
years at the very
Yes.
least. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, it seems like their reasoning is that I guess if your name's John, you might get a bunch of randos adding you rather than the people who you specifically exchange your code with. I don't know. Of course, somebody could just accidentally enter in your friend code by mistake too, but again, Nintendo, they have their own logic and it is impenetrable.
Just like me. Sorry, guys.
Aw, you made yourself sad.
No, you're penetrable. Did you know kangaroos have 3 vaginas?
Wait, what?
So so where are we? So at the end of the day, Nintendo went with its own solution. Friend codes. They're awkward and unwieldy, but when it comes to Nintendo, you have to play by their rules.
Yeah, it's maybe the most famous example of Nintendo going its own way. I keep wanting to sing the song every time this comes up. When easier solutions have been figured out, like we keep saying, a very long time ago, really no reason for this nonsense, but they'll make up reasons.
Yeah, I was thinking it's almost a compliment to Nintendo and the quality of their games that we put up with it, because I don't think we would do this for other people.
That is very true. I
Easy
mean, if
on
you,
the Wii.
well, yeah, Connor, you can leave now if you'd like. For me, I f***ing love Nintendo games, and no other company makes Nintendo games. I mean, I know it sounds really obvious, but their games are so unique. You just kind of have to deal with it.
They just have this random philosophy to do whatever they want. And I don't know of any other industry with a player like Nintendo that's just kind of wandering around in a field somewhere.
I think Animal Crossing is probably one of their more egregious transgressors, and it's always been that way. And really their excuse with Animal Crossing has always been, it's supposed to be a slow-paced game, it's supposed to be frustrating, it's supposed to be all this stuff. I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, I was watching that video that they made, the fake direct, and I was kind of like, you know what, if it did have all of this stuff, I don't know if the game would be worth it, because it would almost be too easy, but there are certain things where I'm like, yeah, I should be able to craft multiple things at once. That
Yes.
just makes sense.
Right.
Did you know kangaroos have 3 vaginas?
The mic was too far from my mouth. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily. For Thursday, it's There's Trouble Afoot Thursday. And no, we will never run out of these alliterations. This time the trouble's coming from inside the house. Your Animal Crossing house, of course. What's that, Lassie? The trouble's coming from inside the house?